On May 20th, 1922, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, white men dragged Joe Winters into the Conroe Courthouse Square. He was suspected wrongly of having a relationship with a white woman. You could smell the kerosene and the burning meat for blocks. He didn't die right away, not until the flames went down his throat. In 1940, Dennis Brantley, working on the railroad, managed to save enough money to buy 30 acres of land. Very few black people owned land back then, but Dennis Brantley committed an unpardonable crime. He built a fence around his property. One day he drove into Conroe, and a white man came up to him. Everyone knew the white man's name. It was never found out if he had had an argument with Brantley or if he just didn't like the sight of a prosperous nigger. But Brantley was dead, and the white man was never even arrested. Oh. 40 years later, Dennis Brantley's grandson was living and working in that same Texas town.
Not coming in on no Saturday, just some 1 hour's pay.
I told you, we'll work till noon. I'll put y'all down for a full day. Now, come on.
Well, so they can have their goddamn volleyball game.
They're having a good time.
Yeah, why not? What else do you have to worry about?
Well, I'm gonna take a few minutes off. Take a look at those bushes and those shorts.
Leave them alone. They're gonna come down on me. I need you to buff the floors in the teacher's lounge.
Huh?
Guys, now you're gonna do a real good job.
I'm gonna do a good job.
All right. Gary and John, I need y'all to set up chairs in the cafeteria. And the quicker you do it, the quicker we can get home, right? All right.
Goddamn nigger. Kiss my ass.
Megan, you serve.
Good try, good try. Marilyn, get in for Come on, girls. Get a ball in. I have got to pee. Where's the restroom at?
Go right through those doors, go through the gym, and then up the stairs.
Okay, thanks. Where's Cheryl?
She went to pee.
How long has she been gone?
I don't know, 20 minutes, maybe half hour.
Well, go get her. Go on, hurry. We're gonna start in 10 minutes.
That's it then. Y'all did a good job.
You gonna get us paid for a full day?
Oh, yeah. I'll get you paid.
Thanks.
Icky, you give me a ride home?
Sure.
Good. Come on, help me lock up.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. What you need?
I'm looking for a friend.
What she look like?
She's got blonde hair. She's wearing shorts.
Well, you go on over there and look for her. Go on. Icky, come on. Come on, Icky, let's check downstairs. Hey. What's this doing on? Anybody here?
Nothing here, Clarence.
Did you look good, Icky?
Yeah?
Come on, Icky. Be careful, Icky.
Clarence.
Oh, my God. Stay here, Icky. I'm gonna go get the police.
I don't want to stay here.
Stay here!
The police are under pressure to find the murderer before the children go back to school on Tuesday after Labor Day. Sheriff Garrity.
I want to warn parents and teachers not to let their child go off anywhere alone. They should go in numbers. And this goes for boys as well as for girls.
Also with me is Buck Ferguson, the father of the murdered Cheryl Ferguson. Sir, it's been 48 hours since your daughter has been found. What advice do you have to give to
Don't go down there tomorrow.
Why not?
A white girl's been raped and killed. You don't remember what that means here. You've been gone too long.
What does that got to do with me, Mama?
Clarence, you're the only black man working in the school.
You said I was spinning my wheels in Houston, living my life in the fast lane. Well, you was right. Here I got the chance to be a supervisor, saving up money.
Listen to me.
I'm listening, Mama. But, Mama, you don't understand. I work hard. I overcome a whole lot of things to get this far as a black man. And that's why I've got to keep showing them that I can be reliable, that I care about my work and the school. So I can't stop now, Mama.
Clarence Bradley. I have a warrant for your arrest on the charge of capital murder. What do you have to tell me?
I don't have anything to tell you.
You raped that girl before or after you killed her?
I never saw that girl till I found her on the stage.
You the only one with a key to that auditorium.
A lot of people had keys to it.
You're gonna tell me the truth?
I have been telling you the truth.
You're gonna tell me everything I want to know. So if I had my way, I'd take you outside right now and blow your goddamn brains out.
Hello, Clarence.
Oh, hey, Mr. Brown.
I've been trying to get to see you for the last couple of days. They haven't made it easy. Your mother asked me to take your case.
Am I gonna make it?
What do you mean?
They're gonna kill me.
They're not gonna do anything to you, Clarence. You're too important to them. They think you're gonna make their careers.
Why they drive me 50 miles outside of Conroe in the middle of the night for?
Well, a lot of people in Conroe upset, and newspapers aren't making it any better. It's probably safer for you here.
How long they gonna keep me here?
Well, something came up there, and I'm not sure what to do about it.
Well, what is it?
They got that charge against you, for carrying an unlicensed weapon. And it's a felony offense, and you're lucky they gave you bail on that. They could revoke that and keep you here. But Keishan wants to make a deal. He wants you to appear before the grand jury. He says he'll release you if you appear.
You're gonna do it, ain't you?
Well, I'm not sure. I want to get you out of here, but it's dangerous. I can be in the room, but I can't say anything. He'll throw all kinds of things at you, and I won't be able to do a thing to help you.
Now, the place where you found the body, had you ever been up there before?
No, sir.
Never had any reason to go up there and masturbate or have sex with anybody up there before?
No.
You work for Oscar Johnson, Clarence?
Yes, sir.
And what line of business is he in?
Funeral home business.
And why do you want to go working around dead bodies?
I just put gas in and dry the hearses.
You feel sorry that this little white girl was strangled and raped like that?
I feel sorry for anything like that to happen.
Clarence, are you going to tell this grand jury that you didn't molest that little white girl?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that you saw that little girl when she came out of the bathroom, right next to the boys' bathroom there?
I ain't seen no girl come out the boy or the girl's bathroom.
Isn't it true you grabbed a little girl by the throat, took her in through the stage door?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No, sir.
You didn't have a strap or something, didn't you put around her neck?
No.
You didn't? And that poor little girl is dead and you had nothing to do with it?
I'm telling you, I ain't had nothing to do with it.
That poor little girl was a 16-year-old virgin. She wasn't ready for anything like that, was she?
I don't know. I didn't know, and I didn't have anything to do with it.
You didn't have a thing to do with it?
No, sir.
You swear to God, of course, and all that sort of thing?
Yes.
You ever have intercourse with a white woman before?
No.
You ever date a white woman?
No.
You raped anybody else?
I never raped anybody.
You haven't raped anybody?
No.
But isn't it true you have some kind of psychiatric problem? I mean, you have a problem about, sex, meeting girls.
No.
You don't have any kind of problem like that?
No. Hey, yo. Hey, Clark. Yeah, man. Hey, so when am I getting out? I've been waiting since this morning.
Clarence, you're gonna have to wait, because they aren't ready to let you out yet.
But they promised me.
They promised you, Clarence, but now they going back on their promise.
I gave them everything that they wanted. I went to the police station. I went to the grand jury. I took that polygraph test. I passed it.
Now they saying that you didn't pass it.
The doctor told me that I did.
But he's not saying that now.
Sheriff Ferguson went upstairs in the girls' restroom, and Clarence Brandley was following her down the hall.
Where did he go?
Well, he went upstairs. I told him that there was a girl in the restroom.
What did he say?
He said, I'm not going in there. And then he told us to go downstairs and start cleaning up in there.
Right. Now, what did you and the other janitors do then?
Well, we went down there.
And how long were you down there?
I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour.
And what happened then?
Well, then Clarence, he come down and said it looked all right, and he told us we'd go home.
He told you that you could go home?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you notice anything unusual about Clarence at that time?
He acted like he was nervous and sweating, and I asked him what he was doing. It was so hot, and he said he'd been working hard.
Now, whose idea was it to go onto the stage in the auditorium?
Clarence said there might be somebody crawling around in there since we found the door open.
And what happened when you went on the stage?
Clarence sent me over there where we keep the props and the stuff.
Did you find anything?
No, sir.
All right, what did Clarence say then?
Clarence said that I'd check out everything real good.
Now, did that seem unusual to you?
Yes, sir. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Did you go back over there?
Clarence made me go back over there.
And what happened?
Clarence said he wanted to check it out himself.
Now, who found the body? Was that you or Clarence?
Clarence did.
They all lied about me. Why?
That's easy, Clarence. If you're guilty, that gets him off the hook, doesn't it?
But Icky, who I used to help, you know he can't read or write. I used to read newspapers to him, write letters for him. What happens now?
Don't worry. I kept holding my breath, you know, as we went along, thinking they must have something. They have nothing.
Mr. Foreman, have you reached a verdict?
Your Honor, we're hopelessly deadlocked 11-1 for conviction.
I want to thank the jurors for their service. I will now declare mistrial. You are excused with my thanks.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for bail.
Denied.
Why, Your Honor?
It is the order of this court that you, Clarence Brantley, who have been on parole for the possession of a short-barrel firearm, be delivered to the sheriff of Montgomery County to serve your original sentence of 3 years.
On what basis?
He violated the terms of his parole.
In what way?
By committing the offense of capital murder.
That was not the conclusion of the jury, Your Honor.
A dispassionate jury would not only have found him guilty of capital murder, but would have assessed death as his punishment. This court is adjourned.
We want to know what you intend to do about the second trial.
I'm going to try it.
Well, then you better have a look at this motion that we intend to file.
I'm going to try this case. I don't have to read that.
Well, then I'll be happy to read it for you. Sam Robertson Jr. has demonstrated by the foregoing actions that he cannot be fair and impartial to the defendant. He has arbitrarily and illegally deprived the defendant of his liberty. He has also arbitrarily...
May I see that? I don't like the way you're characterizing me here.
Well, my client has not had due process up to now. He's being tried for murder. He will have due process.
You can't threaten me. I'm going to try this case.
Well, if you want to have a full investigation into how you handle this case, that's fine. We'll go ahead. I look forward to it.
Local boy. Thank you.
John. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Well, congratulations, John. Or should I say Your Honor now?
Thank you.
We were rooting for you.
Hey, congratulations. Thank you. I squeaked through.
Yeah, well, it's about time we had a liberal on the bench around here, and a defense attorney at that.
You guys have had a tough time of it with that Brantley thing.
Well, you had no idea.
Is Robertson going to sit on the second trial?
No, he decided that he's a little too busy to sit on this case.
What? Some people have talked to me about it down at the courthouse, sounding me out whether I'd sit on the case.
Would you?
I'm thinking about it.
Good.
Good.
Good to see you.
You too.
I think we have a chance now. We got rid of Robertson. We have a new judge. He's a Native American. He knows about prejudice.
Now we got to move the trial out of Conroe. Clarence doesn't stand a chance here.
But you think it's going to be different anywhere in Texas?
I think Jerry is right. Anywhere would be better than here. I mean, look at that juror who voted for acquittal. He's had phone calls, threats. He's finishing this time.
Son, you tell him what you want him to do. It's your life. It should be your decision.
Nothing's my decision. I just watch what's happening. I can't say anything. They do whatever they want with me. I got to trust somebody. You think this judge can be fair?
I think he can.
Look, we desperate. And we contacted every civil rights organization. They won't do anything.
Are you so sure he's going to be convicted? The new judge isn't allowing any blacks on the jury. Does that give you a clue?
I mean, half of Conroe's been in to see Judge Martin. Well, the school board, Sheriff Garrity, the mayor. What do you think they're telling him?
What do you want me to do?
Come to the trial.
Come to the trial. I'm trying to build a national movement here. It's election time. We have candidates that we want to win. Now, I get involved. I devise my time, my energies, my interests.
You can take that national organization or whatever else you're involved with, but it'll have no meaning unless you stop the killing of Clarence Brantley.
That's right.
What about the black people of Conroe? Now, why haven't we heard from them?
They're frightened to death. They've always been frightened. Probably always will be frightened. You know that.
Yeah. You know, if you're wrong and I get involved, it could discredit everything I'm trying to do.
No, we're not wrong. My brother never hurt anybody.
Here, read these transcripts. This will tell you everything that's happening.
Okay. Leave them there. I'll get around to it.
Okay. But if you do not come to this trial, you show me that you've forgotten the people that you came from and that you're willing to let an innocent man die. Because now you've become a big man and you've gotten afraid.
Ranger, can you tell us what day you came in to investigate the Cheryl Ferguson murder?
I went to the district attorney's office on August 29th.
And could you tell us what day you arrested Clarence Brantley?
29.
In other words, you arrested him the same day you started your investigation. Is that your testimony?
Yes, sir.
Did you interview any of the other janitors before you arrested Clarence Brantley?
Nope.
Didn't you think that might be a good idea?
No reason for it.
Uh-huh. But you did question them later, and we do have 2 statements from them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, I'm going to hand you one of those statements. And could you tell me, is there anything in there that says anything about Clarence Brantley following Cheryl Ferguson to the restroom?
Nope.
Gary Ackerman said that Brantley was gone about 45 minutes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
But in their statement, some of the other janitors say it was about 5 minutes. Now, why is that?
Well, witnesses sometimes don't remember everything right after something like this.
You help them with their memory, Ranger?
Objection, Your Honor.
Is there anything in there about Clarence Brantley looking nervous?
I've made an objection.
On what grounds?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to
going into hearsay here with regard to what somebody told him at some time.
Sustained.
Your Honor, do I understand the court correctly that I cannot ask him what he did on that particular day and what witnesses told him?
As far as what a witness told him would be hearsay.
It goes right to the heart of the case, Your Honor.
I said the objection is sustained.
Did you learn that there was pubic hair found near Cheryl Ferguson's vagina?
Yes, I did.
And yet you didn't ask for hair samples from any of the other janitors?
Didn't because they had no contact with her. That's the reason.
Did you discover in the course of your investigations that at the crucial time, Gary Ackerman said he left the school and went to get cigarettes?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to anything based on hearsay. Anything that he's learned by some means other than personal investigation or knowledge.
I'm not going to permit you to keep trying to delve into hearsay. Move along, counsel.
I tell you, welcome to John. Boy, it sure didn't take long for Casey to put you in his pocket, did it?
I have to rule it the way I see it. I'm sorry, Don.
What happened? You suddenly figure out that you wouldn't be too popular in Conroe if you gave Clarence Brandley a fair trial? Is that it? Is that what happened?
I'll try to remember we're friends.
Friend.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Clarence Lee Brandley, guilty of the offense of capital murder as charged in the indictment.
Clarence, I'm sorry. I guess I never should have trusted anybody in Conroe.
It was like a football rally. Peggy Stevens smiled when she read the verdict. The judge smiled back at her. People from the school came up and shook Keyshawn's hand. People that I thought that I had made friends with. I never would have thought that they would believe I would have done such a thing. But then again, I'm a nigga and anything is
Clarence,
possible.
it's just the beginning of the process. The verdict won't stand. The Court of Appeals will reverse it.
They decide who's criminal and who's not. They supposed to make judgments to see that the law is carried out. But they's criminals themselves. They know that I'm not guilty and that there was lies told against me.
Clarence?
Hey.
Sit down. Please, come on, sit down. That's something else that we got to talk about. We're in the penalty phase now. We have to decide who's going to speak for you. I want your mother to go up on the stand.
I don't want her to come in.
She can talk about watching you grow up, seeing you serve in the Army, how much she loves you. Maybe she can reach those jurors. Maybe, she can touch their hearts.
One of them got a heart.
Clarence, we're talking about your life here.
You want me to put her up on that stand?
Yes.
She who's done everything for me and I ain't giving her nothing back? Keyshawn ain't gonna do nothing to ask her the same thing he always asks. Didn't he rape that little white girl after he killed her? Isn't it true he got sexual problems, that he needs psychiatric help, that he a no good, lazy...
Your mama would...
Don, she'll never survive it. And I'd rather die than see that happen.
Hey, Don, let me buy you a drink.
No, thanks.
Oh, come on, you're a professional. Act like a professional.
How's a professional act?
We do our jobs. We leave it at the courthouse.
Oh, Yeah? Is that what you do? Leave it at the courthouse? Sure. Don't you ever wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and think, hey, there's somebody in Huntsville on death row? No, what is he to you, anyway? What is he, some kind of animal or is a thing? What? Believe it or not, he has feelings, just like you do. You know he's innocent.
I know nothing of the kind.
Oh, jeez. I want copies of exhibits first thing in the morning.
What for?
For the appeal.
That's your privilege.
Yes, it is. Will they be ready?
They'll be there.
Thank you.
When King and all those others marched in the 60s, how do you think they got everything accomplished? You think that Johnson or Kennedy would have done anything unless they had pressure put on them? No. Everything we've ever got as a people has come as a direct result of suffering and struggle. Now you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, nothing is going to happen unless we make it happen.
Young man, I would be the first to do it if I thought it would do some good. But if we do what you're saying, it's just gonna make it worse for Clarence.
Don't you get it? That is what they want you to think. They want you afraid. All right, I'm gonna do something for y'all. I'm gonna go back to Houston and I'm gonna get my people and we are gonna march to the courthouse.
Don Brown.
This is Janet Dow, Judge Martin's secretary.
Hello, Janet.
Mary Johnson, the judge's court reporter, called me. She's scared to call you direct. She says there's something you ought to know about the Brandley case.
Well, I'll be right over.
No, don't do that. She didn't want anybody from the courthouse to see you with her. We'll have to meet somewhere else.
I'd prefer not to have my name used in any of this, okay?
Okay. Well, what is it?
Well, the exhibits are gone.
You're gone? How can they be gone?
I left them in a box in my office over the weekend, and when I came in Monday, they were gone.
Monday? Mary, this is Friday. Why didn't anybody tell me?
Tell him, Mary.
They don't want you to know.
How do you know that?
Well, they told me. They said, we better, Don Brown didn't know about this, because, he'll make a big deal out of it.
Well, they're damn right about that, I'll tell you that. What happened to him?
Well, they're gonna say that, one of the janitors in the courthouse threw the exhibit away by mistake.
Could that have happened?
I mean, they don't even go into my office. I even do my own cleaning just to be sure, that the evidence I keep there won't be moved.
Are you trying to tell me that Keishan took the exhibits out of your office? Martin knew about it and they didn't tell me?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. All I know is that those exhibits were my responsibility, and I'm sick about it.
There's something else I have to tell you.
What?
Keishan and Judge Martin met almost every morning during that trial.
They met? What the hell do you mean they met? Every morning? Why?
To discuss what to do with some of your rulings.
We're gonna have ourselves a protest meeting up in Houston. You can't be there to speak to them in person, but you can on tape, so what would you like to say?
What difference do it make?
What do you mean, what difference is it gonna make?
They done made up their mind. Let them go on and do it.
You may be ready to give up Clarence, but there's a lot of people that aren't. Your family isn't.
I told them to.
Your mother is spending every penny she has on lawyers. Your brother don't give up his job so he can work full-time on saving you.
You think that make me feel better? It make me feel worse, make me feel guilty as hell.
Now, why would that make you feel guilty?
Because they doing all this, spending all this money, and all it's doing is getting some publicity. But you done bony. And you know it.
Well, that just shows me how far you had your head stuck up your ass. You think this is good publicity for Judon Boney?
Then why are you doing it? Because you like me?
I like the case, Clarence. It's perfect. Makes everything very clear. See, we can use this. Focus the spotlight of public attention on Conroe. Show the racism within the criminal justice system. That way Conroe becomes a stage for the whole world to see what justice in Texas is really like.
You know how this ends. With me on that table.
Yeah, well, it might come to that, but you breathing right now, ain't you? I tell you what I would do if it were me. I would fight. I would fight until they strap me onto that table. Tried to put the shit in my arm, but even then I would be fighting. But you let them win. They beat you, didn't they? You let them win before you even began to fight.
I don't want to fight. I don't want to hope, and I don't want to feel anymore.
Then go ahead. Die. Go on. But you won't just be letting yourself down, you'll be letting your people down. And you will be blowing a chance to re-energize black people in this country. You will be blowing a chance for the next guy just like you. He's gonna die. You won't be able to do anything to stop something like this.
You're a dangerous man, Jew. You done woke up all kind of feelings in me I don't want to be having.
The feeling you got, that is why I'm doing this. I want you to keep something in mind, Clarence. You are a lucky man. You are blessed.
Funny, I can't see that.
How many guys on death row? Nobody comes to see them for years. They're gonna lie on the gurney, get their injection in their arm. Nobody cares. You have people that care. You have your mother, you got brothers and sisters. Hell, you even got me, if that means anything to you. There's only one thing that I can promise you. If they kill you, I will not let them do it quietly in some dark corner. It will have to be at high noon on the main street with the whole world watching.
What you want me to say?
Anything you want to say.
My name is Clarence Brantley. And I'm an innocent man.
Mr. Brantley, would you please rise? Have you anything to say before I pronounce my sentence?
Your Honor, I'm innocent. I ain't got nothing else to say.
It is the order of this court that you, Clarence Lee Brantley, who have been adjudged guilty of capital murder, are sentenced to death by lethal injection on January 16th, 1986.
Sorry, Clarence. We're not going to leave this alone. Now, could you just give him a minute to be with his family, just to say goodbye? Just...
son has only 60 days to live. And there is only one man that can do the job of saving him, and that is Percy Foreman.
Well, I'm glad that you have such a high regard for me, but this isn't for me.
Why isn't it for you?
I'm too old.
But you still take cases?
For money, so I can leave something to my kids, but nothing like this anymore.
Oh, come on now, Percy. You're one of the richest lawyers in the country.
You've already got a good lawyer.
We need something more. You have robbed the executioner of so many victims. Everybody lost count.
I haven't robbed an executioner in years. Now, you need someone who can take on the whole state of Texas. That just isn't me anymore.
I'd like to ask a few questions, if I may.
What kind of questions?
This is a new addition to our firm, Mr. DeGarren. Don't underestimate him.
What was the evidence that convicted Mr. Brantley?
There was no evidence.
No evidence?
No fingerprints, no confessions, no witnesses.
There were 2 trials and how many appeals?
4.
The Texas Rangers, District Attorney's Office, and any number of judges have gotten this far without any evidence. Is that right?
That's right.
Well, are you saying this is some kind of a conspiracy?
Well, there was no conspiracy needed. They just did what came natural.
I find it difficult to believe.
You find it difficult to believe because you don't want to believe it.
How come you didn't get a hearing on the missing evidence?
Well, we tried, but turned down.
If Brantley didn't kill Cheryl Ferguson, who did?
It might have been one of the janitors. Might have been somebody from outside. Might have been a boyfriend who wanted to have sex with her. She wouldn't. I don't know who it was.
You've been making a mistake. You've been too busy defending your client. What you need to do is find the murderer or even a suspect. You got 58 days to do it.
Well, thank you for your advice, but advice comes cheap.
Oh, I know. Now I'm gonna help you.
What do you think, Percy?
I told him what I think. That he's going up against Keeshan, the most powerful man in Montgomery County. I told him that in all probability, he's destroying his career.
Clarence, this didn't happen on a dirt road or in some back alley. This happened in a school.
I know.
Somebody had to drag Cheryl Ferguson up to that lot. Somebody had to see something, somebody.
What would happen if they told what they saw?
What about the other janitors? Who can help us, Ackerman?
No, he didn't like taking orders from a nigga.
Clarence, we need to have a suspect. I think we have one.
Who?
Icky Peace.
He didn't do it.
Listen, you don't know about this, but 3 days ago, they found some photos of naked teenage girls in his car and a phony sheriff's badge. He had keys to the auditorium. We can make out a case against him stronger than yours. Is there anything you could think of that points to this possibility?
He didn't do it, I said.
He wouldn't be convicted. He'd just be a suspect to get a stay. It's all we have.
I'm not gonna do to somebody else what they did to me. And you ain't gonna make me do it, as scared as I am.
All right, Clarence. I don't know whether I'd behave as well as you if I were in your place. I'll do what I can.
Hey, Percy, I've been looking for you.
Oh, Bill.
How's the wizard?
Not bad for my tender years.
Is it true you're going to take the Brantley case?
I might, 'cause
I was wondering if the DA's office told you about Brenda Medina.
Brenda who?
Brenda Medina, she's a client of mine.
No, they didn't.
Well, she came to me a while back and she told me that her husband used to be a janitor at the school. Confessed to killing Cheryl Ferguson up at the high school.
He confessed?
That's what she said.
And she told us the prosecution.
I took her over there. She took a lie detector test.
I was sleeping on the couch. It was about 1:30 in the morning. He woke me up and he said, I'm leaving. Now, I figured he was trying to get out of paying me any more child support. I told him, go on. I told him I don't care. If he left, I wanted him to go and never come back. He said, listen, I killed one bitch. Don't make me kill another.
What'd you say to him?
I told him it was baloney. He was always saying something like that. But then he said something else. Something that made me wonder. He said he was leaving. He was going out of town. That he hid her well enough that no one would find her. And that he would write to me or call me when he got to where he was going. I fell back asleep. I woke up around 5 o'clock or so, I guess, in the morning. And I don't know. Something just gave me a feeling that I should go in the bedroom where he stayed. The closet doors were open. All his clothes were gone. He'd left a pair of tennis shoes. And there was blood on the shoes.
How come you didn't come forward at one of the
I
trials?
didn't have a television set. I hadn't even heard of Cheryl Ferguson until a friend of mine's daughter was fixing to go to college. That's when she brought it up. Something about she didn't want her daughter going off to college by herself. She was feared that she would get killed like the girl did up at the high school. And that there was a black man on death row for it.
What'd you do with the tennis shoes?
I threw them out. I threw it all away. Anything to do with him.
Welcome aboard. But from now on, any questions you might have about the Brandley case should be addressed to my colleague here, Mr. Spears.
Why is that, Jim?
You're gonna have to call me Your Honor from now on. The governor was foolhardy enough to appoint me as judge on the district court.
Reward for your fine work in the Brandley case, no doubt.
That might have something to do with it.
Is there any new developments in this case that we should know about?
Peter, why don't you see what you can do to help my friend Mike here? Oh, I'm sorry to see you get involved with this. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Anything new?
No, nothing.
Oh, by the way, does the name, Brenda Medina mean anything to you?
Yeah, she said something about her husband. We checked it out. It didn't go anywhere. Robinson was in South Carolina the day that Cheryl Ferguson was murdered.
Okay. Did you check whether James Robinson was at the school that day?
I did. Nobody saw him.
Think Brenda Medina might be dreaming this?
I don't know. Could be, I guess. Wait a minute. There is someone else that we ought to be talking to.
Who's that?
John Sessom, one of the janitors. You know, he said things from time to time, makes me think that he knows things that he's not saying.
I've got to talk to my family first.
Why?
I got to know whether they think it's all right to help a nigger.
How could you help Clarence?
Things.
What things?
No one with trouble.
Trouble from who?
The ranger and that bastard Ackerman.
Why would Ackerman give you trouble?
John. I'll just sit down here for a second. You and Clarence always got along, didn't you? I mean, hell, sometimes he bought you lunch. So, you know, if there's something, you tell us now before it's too late. Huh?
There were things that didn't come out at the trial.
What things?
Ackerman spoke to the girl.
What'd he say?
Told her she looked good.
What else?
After he spoke to her, I didn't see him around.
How long was he gone?
I don't know. Let me ask you one question. Just tell me one thing. Was James Robinson at the school on the day Cheryl Ferguson was murdered? Never heard of him. This is his picture. Stop asking me questions. You recognize him, didn't you? He was there, wasn't he? You recognize him. You recognize that picture. I told you, I don't want to talk anymore. Get the fuck out of here.
So a man named James Robinson confessed to his wife that he killed Cheryl Ferguson. Let me help you.
Why are you so nervous?
Not nervous.
Tell us about James Robinson.
He used to work at the school.
Was he at the school the day Cheryl Ferguson was murdered?
Nope.
Let me ask you this. Why would all these people lie and say they saw you with him at the school?
You better tell us the truth. People will think you are trying to hide something.
I don't have anything to hide.
Well, then why would you tell Cecil not to tell anybody you spoke to the girl?
Don't protect this guy because he's your buddy.
He's not my buddy.
Then help yourself. Clear it up.
I'd like to see Brandley get out. I'd like to see him get out because from day one, I don't think he was the one that done it.
Well, let me ask you a question. James Robinson at the school on the day Cheryl Ferguson was murdered.
Come on, Gary. Clear this up or you're going to be in trouble. Was James Robinson there? Huh?
Yeah.
You saw him at the school?
Yeah, he was there. But just for a minute, just popped his head in to say, don't work too hard.
I'm Mike DeGuerin. This is Don Brown.
Hi.
We're looking into the murder at the high school at Conroe. Can we come in?
Sure. Thank you.
You want a hot dog?
No, thanks.
You?
No, thank you.
What do you want from me?
There have been some allegations made against you.
What allegations?
Your wife, Brenda, she said that you killed that girl.
What are you laughing for?
Well, Brenda, she makes up all kinds of stuff about me. She got a good imagination.
Brenda's not been the only one been saying these things about you. There's Gary Ackerman.
What's Ackerman saying?
The same thing.
Ackerman's saying that?
Yes, sir, he is.
Well, he can say what he wants. I wasn't in Conroe the day that happened.
Well, then, I think maybe you're being framed.
Yeah, goddamn Ackerman.
How about you take a lie detector test, clear this all up, sort out that son of a bitch Ackerman. That didn't help us, James.
Why not?
The man who took the polygraph test says you're being deceptive.
What about?
He asked you if everything happened the way you said. Your answer didn't make it on the polygraph.
You didn't give us enough about Ackerman. How are we going to clear you? if you don't tell us more about Ackerman.
Well, I'm trying to think about whether or not Gary Ackerman told me anything about murder when we was driving in his truck when he was at school.
You told us you weren't at the school on the day of the murder.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Let's get this on the record. Did you cause the death of Cheryl Ferguson?
Well, I don't remember.
What are you saying?
Well, I don't know. I'm just not sure. I could have done it and forgot. I don't remember. No, I couldn't have done it. No, I couldn't have done it. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not sure. I'm not that kind of person. I'm innocent.
Talk to Robinson. Can't tell you what he said, but he's no friend of yours.
I'll protect that asshole. Don't let him put it all on you.
What happened at the school that day? I saw him go up there. I didn't know he did anything.
Did Robinson drag her to the restroom? Come on, Gary. It's your last chance.
Listen now. What we want to do is this. Very simple. We don't want to bother you anymore. We want to get a videotape with you. Do it tonight. Take about 10 minutes. Clear this up. Okay? Okay. Okay. We're getting a new hearing on the Brantley case.
I'm aware of it. I read the papers. What is the evidence?
We'd like for you to do something first. We'd like for you to recuse yourself.
You can't be serious.
I'm afraid I am.
Well, you wanted John to try this case yourself.
I know I did.
You can't recuse every judge in Texas.
I will if I have to.
No, you're not going to recuse this one. There's only one person to sit on this case. That's John.
All right. Then we'll go public with it.
What are you going to go public with?
The fact that you two met every morning without defense counsel being present.
We weren't discussing the case. Don't let him intimidate you, John. I'll stand behind you all the way.
I'd like to think about this, Jim.
There's also the little matter of James Robinson. You remember James Robinson now, don't you?
Yeah, I told you he wasn't in Texas at the time.
Did you give him a lie detector test?
No.
You gave one to Brenda Medina, didn't you? She passed. Now, don't you think that might fall under the heading of suppression of evidence? There's also the missing exhibits.
I'll think about it over the weekend.
Not good enough.
It's not worth it to me, Jim. They want to make a circus out of this with the media. Let them. But they are not going to drag me through the mud.
Did you tell your ex-wife that you'd killed a girl?
Yes, sir.
All right. Would you tell the court now the circumstances that this came about?
Well, I was asleep on the couch, and Brenda grabbed hold of me and jerked me up, and I got upset with her. I slapped her. She called me an SOB. So I said, I killed one bitch, don't make me kill another.
Had you ever killed a girl?
No, sir.
So, Mr. Robinson, let me ask you. Were you in Conroe the day of the murder?
No, sir.
Where were you?
I was in South Carolina for a birthday party for my niece.
Pass the witness.
Did, Mr. Spears spend a good deal of time with you before you came here?
We talked.
What'd he tell you?
He said you was trying to put a hoodoo on me.
What do you mean, a hoodoo?
Change old words around, mess them all around so it looks like I'm the guilty one.
At this time, I'd like to present as evidence what Mr. Robinson said on a lie detector test taken 3 weeks ago.
Your Honor, lie detectors are not permissible as evidence, as Mr. DeGuerin knows.
Mr. Spears is correct, Mr. DeGuerin. Strike that from the record.
You just testified that you were in South Carolina on the day of the murder. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know Reggie Slacum, Mr. Robinson?
Yes, sir.
Did you try to collect money from him on August 23rd, 1980 in Conroe?
No, sir.
Mr. Slacum said you did.
Well, he's a liar.
Really? I have a hospital record here. Mr. Slacum was admitted to the hospital in Conroe on August 23rd, 1980. Would you like to change your testimony?
No.
When we asked you if you had caused the death of Cheryl Ferguson, didn't you tell us you don't remember?
Well, I said I don't remember if I was at school or not.
Didn't you say you could have? You might have?
Well, look, I had something to drink that day, but Mr. Spears has helped me since. He and the others have worked with me very hard on getting down to the truth of the matter.
Did someone tell you to say that?
No, sir.
Those are your own words.
Yep.
Mr. Robinson, you would tell this court you were involved in the death of Cheryl Ferguson if it were true, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir.
The fact that you might be executed isn't a factor whatsoever in your commitment to the truth now, isn't it?
Objection, Your Honor. You know better than this, Mr. DeGuerin.
Nothing further.
All right, this is the last witness. All that is left is to render my decision, which I will do as expeditiously as possible.
What makes you think I can save him?
You could tell us what happened to the missing evidence.
I don't know what happened to it.
Don Brown thinks you do.
Well, he misunderstood me.
Come on, Mary. Can you really sit by and watch an innocent man be executed?
Look, I'm telling you, there is nothing that I could say or do that would save him. And all I'd be doing would be hurting a man that I've known and I've worked for 10 years.
And what about Clarence Brantley?
I don't know Clarence Brantley. I've never met him. I probably will never meet him.
Besides, he's just a black man.
Oh, well, that's not fair.
But it's true, though, isn't it? I mean, think about it. Would you be letting this happen if he was a white man?
I'm sorry I have to go.
I'll let you go, Miss Johnson. First, I'm gonna make a little prediction. I predict that they're gonna need somebody to blame for those missing exhibits. How much do you want to bet they blame you?
No.
You're the low man on the totem pole. I lay bets they drop you in the grease.
Court finds the defense application for a writ of habeas corpus to be without merit, and that the original execution date will stand in effect.
It's over, ain't it?
There are still some things that can happen.
What?
We can go back to the janitors.
But you tried that.
There's Mary, the court reporter. She can testify about the missing evidence.
It would mean a job. She'd never be able to work in the courts again. You think she'd do that for a black janitor?
She might.
Don't bullshit me, Mike. No room for that in here. I was told things like this happen, but I just didn't believe it. Mama tried to protect me from the world. She couldn't protect me from everything. She used to work with this white woman washing and ironing, and I came to see her work. I must have been about 4 or 5 when she came to the door. She told me, "Don't you ever come to the front door of a white person's house." I said, "I ain't know nothing about that, Mama." Of course, the woman she worked for poked her head out the door to see what was going on. She saw me. She said, "What is that little nigger doing here?" Never forget the way I felt. I ran. Mama called after me, but it was too late. She tried to talk to me when she came home, but my world had already started. Turn. I used to work as a dishwasher at the old McGill Hotel. I was 13. They had just started to let black folks eat there then. And after each one of the folks left, my boss made us break the plates they ate in so that the white folks wouldn't eat off the same plate. Pissed my whole life away thinking I wasn't as good as anybody else. But I came here and I read black history, politics, novels, and the Bible. And I talked and I wrote down my thoughts and I found out something. Found out I'm just as good as anybody else, but it don't matter now. Can't do nothing about that now.
It's not over, Clarence.
Who gonna be there then?
Let's not talk about that now.
I wanna know.
Your mother and family. On the other side,
Cheryl's daddy gonna be there?
yes.
What about Keyshawn and Peggy Stevens? You gonna let them be there, Mike?
No.
Thank you. Give them too much pleasure.
Well, I'm here to help you with the Brandley case.
Sorry, I appreciate the offer, but as you can see, we're under a bit of pressure here. We're trying to save a man's life. We've got 10 days to do it.
I know. I talked to Clarence.
Who gave you permission to talk to Clarence?
Well, Mother saw him on 60 Minutes. Told me to give him a call. Used to be a minister. Got 4 people off death row.
Why didn't you come to me before about this?
Because you might have said no.
You're right, I would have. I'm sorry. Appreciate the sentiment, but what we don't need right now is another person getting in the way.
Well, I promised to try not to get in the way.
What do you want, Mr. McCloskey?
I told Ozell I don't want anything other than a car and a place to stay.
Yeah, and he can stay at my house. Got a room above my garage that nobody's living in.
Thank you.
What do you do for a living, Mr. McCloskey?
I studied for the ministry at Princeton, and part of my course was to visit inmates, and I discovered how our system of justice allows people to just fall through the cracks. So I left the ministry, and now I spend all of my time trying to help people I think are innocent.
How do you think you can help us?
See if I can't get someone who knows something to talk.
Who?
I'd go back to the janitors. Now, if one of them was there and knows exactly what happened, maybe he might feel bad.
We've tried talking to them.
Well, I can be pretty persistent. Even though I'm not a minister any longer, I sometimes wear a collar. You'd be surprised how effective that can be. Must be kind of lonely for you living here without any wife or kids, John.
It's lonely. And your own family won't talk to you.
Why won't your family talk to you?
Working at the school was going to be a new start. I even stopped drinking.
Why'd you stop working at the school, John?
They don't want me there anymore.
What was it like that day that Sheriff Ferguson was killed, John?
What was it like? I've been having nightmares ever since.
What kind of nightmares?
I'm scared.
You scared?
Scared.
What are you scared about?
The law is gonna come down on me.
Why should the law come down on you, John?
You don't know the Ranger.
What do you see in your nightmares, John?
I will tell you this, off the record. I believe Gary had something to do with what happened.
What do you see Gary doing in your dreams, John?
1 second, Gary's talking to her. The next, he's gone.
What did the girl say when Ackerman was talking to her?
I remember she said no.
Do you remember what Gary did to make her say no?
No.
Did you see Gary grab the girl and take her off somewhere?
I don't know. I've been drinking so much, I don't know what's real and what's not real.
Clarence Brandley dies in 9 days. John, you need someone to talk to. You got everything bottled up inside you. You drink yourself to sleep every night. You're having nightmares. Who can you talk to? Can you talk to Keishan? Of course not. Can you go to the Ranger? No. Ackerman? No. You're alone. But you're not alone, John. Not like you were when this thing first happened. You got a friend in me. You gotta trust me, John.
I ain't in love with no nigger. I want to tell you this. If he is innocent, I will fight for him.
What should we do about it, John?
You maybe take me back to the school. And I'll sit on the steps. Maybe I'll remember.
Now, you were standing here. What happened? Did Ackerman follow her? What happened?
I heard him talking to her.
What did you do?
I went upstairs.
Why?
To get a drink of water.
Was there anyone else there?
Robinson.
What was Robinson doing, John?
Nothing at first. Just scared the living shit out of me.
And then?
He saw Ackerman and the girl and dragged her into the ladies' room.
And what happened then?
I don't know. I didn't want to know. You know what crazy bastards they are. You'll get blamed. It'll be my fault. It's none of your business.
She called out to you, didn't she, John? She cried out to you for help, didn't she? Didn't she?
I don't know how many times. I can still hear her voice.
John, listen to me. No one can criticize you. I don't know what I would have done. But Cheryl is looking down at us, John. So you couldn't help her then, but you could make her happy now? She doesn't want an innocent man to go to his death because of her. She wants the real killers brought to justice.
I can't let anyone know that I let her die.
It's the only way you're going to be able to sleep again, John. You could help her father, too. Tell him what really happens. We could bring some closure to this thing once and for all.
Father? Why'd you just say father? What about her mother?
Her mother died just before this happened.
How would he have known that?
Who?
When he took me home that night, Gary said something about the girl's mother dying. Something about it was just her and her daddy. How would he have known that?
I'll tell you how, John. While Ackerman and Robinson were raping her and beginning to strangle her, she was begging for her life, saying how her mother had just died, how it was just her and her daddy, and how much he needed her.
John Sessom is a drunk. He signed a statement completely contradictory to this.
We've got 5 days. Do you want to be responsible for putting Brantley to death if what Sessom is saying is true?
I don't know. Till we have our investigators examine it, how do we know if there's any substance to it?
What's going on?
What is this?
People exercising their First Amendment rights.
Fine. But do they think that they're going to be able to pressure anybody with this sort of thing?
Oh, your black brethren in Conroe aren't supposed to behave like this, are they? They're supposed to accept whatever happens to them. Look at them. They're out on the streets fighting. Does that make you feel uneasy, Peter?
How many of you are willing to tie up this Capitol? Because that means breaking the law. Now, how many of you are willing to break the law? You hold on. This is the first time for some of you from Conroe. You have to know what can happen. They can charge you with resisting arrest even though you didn't resist. They can charge you with assaulting a police officer even though you didn't assault no police officer. You can go to prison. It can cost you 6 months in jail. Now, how many of you are willing to let that happen to them? What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! All right. Free! I can't hear you! Free Clarence Bradley! Free Clarence
247 today. Judge Lynn Coker signed a stay of execution for Clarence Brandley. Howdy, John. What's the matter? Don't you want to talk to us? You better be careful. You're making trouble for a lot of good people.
Put up with all this crap from the ranger. Scum like you. Scum like you. Easy. I'm not afraid of you anymore. Stay away from me.
Keep your goddamn mouth shut.
Thank you people for coming today. Okay, everybody grab the placard. We're gonna make our way up to this police up there. Okay. So, everybody got their placard and come with me. That's right. Today we are gonna say a prayer. Because today, Brandley's birthday. We let him know that we are out here supporting him.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody follow me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, free and friendly. Free and friendly.
No, that's it. Everybody knows.
Now, you said the girl was being attacked right in front of your eyes, and you wandered off to get a drink of water?
Yes, sir.
You heard the girl saying, help, no, don't. And you didn't even look up there to see what was going on, let alone go up there and try to help her out?
No, sir, I did not.
And now suddenly, you remember seeing a young girl being attacked by Mr. Robinson and Mr. Ackerman. Yet you never said anything till now.
Yes, sir.
You lied at the hearing. You lied under oath at both trials. The fact of the matter is that the oath to tell the truth just doesn't mean a darn to you. Does it?
Mr. Sessom, are you proud of the fact that you did not go and help Cheryl Ferguson? No, sir, I'm not. Did you tell Wesley Stiles about the girl, Gary and Mr. Robinson grabbing her? He told me if I didn't do as he said, I'd be arrested. Were you frightened of the ranger? Yes, sir, I was. I was scared. I was scared through it all. Was it easy for you to come here and tell the world how you let a girl die without helping her? No, sir. I run from people over this for a long time. But you can't run from yourself.
Mr. Stiles, I suppose it's been reported to you that Mr. EKP said you grabbed him by a chain around his neck and choked him. Is he lying about that?
Lying about that part.
No, he also testified that you put a gun to his head and said you could blow his brains out.
That never occurred.
Are you trained, Mr. Stiles, as a Texas Ranger, that when you go to talk to somebody, you take charge and you want them to be a little bit intimidated by you?
No, I was not. I want to treat people just like if I was in their place, I would want them to treat me.
Cheryl Ferguson screamed for help.
What'd she say?
No. Stop.
What happened, man?
He, drug her in the bathroom.
Who drugged her into the bathroom?
Robertson.
Why are you now coming forward and telling us this?
Because I don't think Clarence Brantley was guilty of it. Well, I know for a fact that he was.
That's you on the videotape, isn't it?
Yes.
Mr. Ackerman, you know Clarence Brantley is not guilty, and you know who did it too, don't you?
No, I don't.
You're scared that someone might have seen you up there with the girl, and might be implicated in the crime, so you said you didn't do it. It was James Robinson. Isn't that true?
No.
And in order to assure people that you didn't do it, you're willing to say somebody else did it. You saw them do it. Isn't that right? You're hoping and praying that they will be successful in the execution of Clarence Brantley, and all this will go away. Then you'll be all right, won't you? Then it'll all be over.
No. It'll never be over.
Did the police take a statement from you shortly after the murder?
They wrote something on a piece of paper.
Did you request any aid in the reading of the statement?
Yes, sir. I asked could my sister and brother-in-law be there so they could read it to me.
Were you able to place a call to either your sister or brother-in-law?
I wanted to, but they said I had to stay there until they was through taking my statement.
Now, Mr. Peace, did you meet a Texas Ranger by the name of Wesley Stiles?
Yes, sir.
Now, did Mr. Wesley Stiles do anything to you that you perceived to be threatening in any way?
When I told him I didn't believe Clarence killed that girl, he put me up against the wall and said maybe I killed her.
Did you tell that to the district attorney's office?
Yes, sir, I did. They said I was just hallucinating. It was my word against the Rangers, and nobody would believe me.
Now, you're aware of the allegations that Clarence Brantley was a victim of a racist plot.
I never saw the slightest evidence that his race played any part in the investigation by the Conroe Police Department or the Texas Ranger.
Would you do anything differently if you had to try the case over again?
I'm proud of how I carried out my duties the best way I know how. I don't have anything I feel I should be ashamed about regarding that prosecution.
Pass the witness.
Was the jury that tried Clarence Brantley all white?
Yes.
In both trials?
Yes, in both trials.
In the whole town of Conroe, there wasn't a single black who met the requirements?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Move on to something else.
While you were district attorney, evidence was discovered to be missing. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you remember what that evidence was?
I don't recall.
Cheryl Ferguson's blood-stained clothes, hairs that were left on her body. They're lost forever now, aren't they?
It would seem to be.
Did you tell the defense counsel about the disappearance of the exhibits at the time?
No, I did not.
Could you tell us why you did not?
Because they were suspects.
Why were they suspects?
Well, they were the only ones with the motivation to destroy the exhibits.
What would be the motivation?
If the evidence was missing, the record could not be completed and the case could be reversed.
Isn't it possible there was another motivation?
What other motivation?
Did it occur to you that maybe you made a mistake and that Clarence Brantley was innocent and without the evidence, he'd never be able to prove it? What happened to the missing evidence, Judge?
It was assumed that the janitors mistook it for trash and threw it out.
You know that, or someone told you?
Someone told me that.
Who told you that?
I think I read that in the paper.
You weren't interested enough to find out for yourself, yet to find out about it by reading the newspapers?
There was another possibility.
What was it, Judge?
There was only one person who had custody of the evidence.
Who was that?
My court reporter, Mary Johnson.
Are you suggesting she hid or destroyed the evidence?
The Attorney General's office says that she is the most likely suspect.
I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't get dressed. I had to come face to face with the fact that Clarence Brantley might die, and I might have saved him. And I'd have to live with that fact for the rest of my life.
Did you tell Judge Martin how you would testify before this proceeding?
I told Judge Martin that if I was subpoenaed to testify, I would tell the truth.
What did he say?
He told me he was worried about me.
Why was he worried about you?
He said that some people wanted to blame me for the disappearance of the exhibits and how I might be fired if he didn't protect me.
What happened then?
Men from the Attorney General's office came down to see me, and I became the chief suspect for the missing evidence. And they treated me like a criminal. They gave me a lie detector test and told me I'd failed it. I think it was all just to frighten me.
What was your reaction?
I talked to people around the courthouse, and I told them what was happening, and they weren't surprised. And when I told them that I was going to testify, they looked at me like I was from Mars, like we were all part of a team, and I went against the team.
Did Peggy Stevens have any input on the execution date of Clarence Brantley?
Peggy Stevens came to see me about something that she was really excited about. Well, she told me that Judge Martin was going to do something special for us. We have the same birthday. So she asked Judge Martin to make the date of Clarence Brantley's execution on that day.
Did Judge Martin do that?
Yes.
Did you have a discussion with them about that?
Yes. I told them that they could celebrate if they wanted to, but I wouldn't be celebrating.
I don't know what to say except Mary Johnson is just a liar, okay?
Are you privy to how many people around the courthouse Peggy Stevens boasted to about how proud she was that you set the execution on her birthday?
Objection, Your Honor. Entirely irrelevant.
Move on to something else, Mr. DeGarren.
Judge Martin, you presided over a trial in which Clarence Brantley was found guilty.
It was the jury's decision, not mine.
Would you agree he deserves a new trial, considering the evidence that's been presented?
What evidence?
You don't know the evidence?
No. I haven't been keeping up with the case.
Oh, I'll tell you the evidence. James Robinson confessed to his wife that he killed Cheryl Ferguson. And John Sessom said he saw Gary Ackerman and James Robinson push the girl into the restroom yelling and screaming. Would you now say Clarence Brantley deserves a new trial?
I would conduct a hearing on it.
Would you grant a new trial?
I would conduct a hearing on all of that.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Would you allow a man to be executed when 3 of the 4 janitors who testified in your trial are now being called liars by the district attorney's office?
Objection.
It's not within my province, counsel.
Let me ask you personally, would you allow this man to be executed?
It is not within my province.
Judge, why don't you tell Clarence Brandley and all these people that you're sorry for what happened.
All rise. 212th District Court will now come to order.
We have had 10 days of trial during which the court has heard the testimony of 46 witnesses. And while I know it is highly unusual for the court to render a decision from the bench, I have been so struck by what I have seen here that I'm going to break precedent. Sitting in this courtroom for the last 10 days, I felt I have been under a shadow of darkness. A darkness that obscured the light of fundamental decency and human rights. Ranger Wesley Stiles, who was in charge of the investigation, operated under a state of mind that he had already gotten his man, and that he was not going to follow any leads that might prove his preconception wrong, threatening to arrest or even harm witnesses who came forward with the truth. The district attorney, Peter Spears, failed to notify defense counsel that James Dexter Robinson confessed to his wife that he murdered Cheryl Ferguson. Judge Keeshan and Judge Martin held secret meetings at which they rehearsed key rulings in Brandley's trial. Judge Keeshan did not disclose that vital exhibits had been lost or stolen. Judge Martin refused to call an investigation concerning it. The court finds that Gary Ackerman and James Dexter Robinson have emerged as the probable murderers of Cheryl Ferguson. The court's conclusion is the most substantial fact in the case was the color of Clarence Brandley's skin. The court also concludes that Clarence Brandley did not commit the crime for which he now resides on death row. My conclusion is final and unequivocal. I recommend a new trial. I also recommend that new trial be held somewhere other than Conroe.
Clarence remained on death row for 15 months before the appeals court ruled on Judge Pickett's recommendation. They agreed with the findings of the trial court and set the conviction aside.
Mr. Brandley, how does it feel to be a free man?
Hold on a minute. Let me get used to this. I'm standing on the ground for the first time in so long without handcuffs and shackles.
8 years on death row. What must have gone through your mind?
Death row changed me. I'm awake to so many different things now. It's like someone who's blind suddenly hears better. At first, I was filled with so much hate. It crowded out everything else. And then I saw John Sessom, who couldn't read or write, come forward and let the world know he wasn't going to stay quiet and let me die. And Mary Johnson, who testified at the district attorney's office and now never work at the court of Conroe again. And Judge Pickett, who spoke the truth, and now people saying he's a dangerous radical and unfit to be a judge. I never knew there was people like that out there, but there are, and they give me hope.
Now that Clarence is free, it proves the system works, doesn't it?
No, that's just the reverse. Clarence was 5 days away from execution. Not one piece of evidence against him. Took any number of lawyers, Jim McCluskey, the community, and a miracle to save this man. See, in that building behind us, 55 black men sentenced to die. How many of them you think are innocent too? And they won't be saved.
Let the young man go. We got a lot of people waiting for him.
Percy Foreman died that summer. Mike DeGarren is taking his place. He has become the best friend the black community has. Jim McCloskey has succeeded in freeing 19 more innocent people from execution. Clarence Brandley has never received a penny in recompense, and a government official has yet to say, "I'm sorry." To this very day, no one has been charged for the rape and murder of Cheryl Ferguson. Clarence Brandley was 5 days from being given a lethal injection. The forces that nearly killed Clarence Brandley are still very much alive. And so this story still has no end.